What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chaotic Minds. As always, it's Winged.
And the midget.
And I will apologize now. We will apologize now if this is coming out or showing up on your feed later than what it normally does. One, we're recording this on Saturday because, sleep is a thing that is needed by
Apparently.
humans. And two,
Interweb problems
yep,
again.
We're having internet issues again.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing this on like a Sunday or a Monday, whatever day, that's the reason why. Trying to get this thing uploaded after we get done recording is going to be fun.
It's going to be one of those things where we hit upload and then it'll upload when the internet comes back. Whatever century that may be.
Pretty much. So we got a couple of things here to talk about. One thing that's been clearly on your mind for a bit, and one thing that like popped into my head earlier last night. Technically last night.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start with mine.
I've got a third one, so
okay.
We'll talk about that too.
So we'll start with mine here.
Okay.
Here recently, within the last couple of weeks, there's been a shakeup in a pretty powerful and well-known company. For those of you who don't know, we like watching wrestling.
Yes. Immensely.
We're not like die hard, like we have to watch it.
We have to go every show that is in town.
We're not that level. But we enjoy watching like the pay-per-view events on Peacock. If we catch it on Fox, we catch SmackDown on Fox, then that's great. If we catch Raw on USA, which by the way, that's going to be changing next year.
And so is the
great.
pay-per-views. They're going to be on Hulu.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that's what the WWE news thing was saying, that there might be changing venues for viewing.
But that's not what I'm getting at. That's not the shakeup that I'm referring to.
Okay.
The shakeup that I'm referring to is that Mr. Vince Kennedy McMahon, the former CEO of the WWE. I say former because of two reasons. One of which is because WWE has been acquired by TKO. They are the same people who own the UFC. The other reason why I say that is because he has resigned and stepped away and down from the company.
Retirement.
Forced retirement. Because it came to light here within the last couple of weeks that he has a pretty impressive lawsuit being filed and against him.
Oh, of the inappropriate nature.
Extremely inappropriate nature.
Yeah.
Now, this is a trigger warning for any people, who might be listening. We will let you know. Probably put it like a timestamp in the description of where you can pick up if you don't want to hear this part. But there is mentions of inappropriate sexual activity and other things like that going forward. So be forewarned.
Trigger warning. Trigger warning for rape and sexual assault.
He's being charged and alleged with. There was a WWE star, or she wanted to be a star, that came up in a company years ago, and Vince himself went ahead and handled that along with Mr. John Laurinaitis.
Laryngitis. Don't like him.
But according to this lawsuit and according to these, everything that's going on, she pretty much was being passed around and used by higher ups in the WWE. There have been screenshots and stories that were told about how he would pretty much get extremely graphic in some of the text messages between the two.
It almost reminds me of when movie stars and TV show stars, like celebrities, the couch auditions.
Yeah.
If you don't know what those are, just Google it. You'll find some pretty disgusting and offending material.
But she is saying that this happened over the course of many years. She was, after each time something would happen, money on gift cards to, like Sephora or...
They're trying to buy her silence.
Pretty much. Would appear or be delivered to her from Mr. McMahon.
Here's some money so you don't report me to the police and get my sorry ass arrested.
And it went on for, like I said, quite a number of years before she ultimately ended up leaving the company. And then I guess started this whole process.
Power to her for finally standing up and saying this is wrong. Far too long, rich people, and we've talked about this before in a couple episodes,
influential people
ago, the affluenza of the rich entitled people, that they think that they can do no wrong, their children can do no wrong. Oh, your child raped and murdered my daughter. Oh, my child would never do something like that. And it's like that all over again, except for in an older generation that should fucking know better.
Well, that's why it happened, is because it's in that older generation where they didn't say anything. I mean, there used to be, like, they've made jokes about it on like shows like Family Guy or other like satire-y
comedy
shows
yeah.
where they show like an old-timey sexual harassment video, and it's pretty much giving you a step-by-step guide of how to sexually harass someone, because back then
I mean, that's like that it's like wedding vows: love, honor, and obey. And the thing is I'm telling you this right now for a fact, because I've looked into it myself, that if you are married and your wife says no, that means fucking no.
Oh, yeah.
You can still be charged with rape. Stop it.
But that's coming from, like, that's coming from that generation of the man of the house or the man of the company or whatever could do whatever they want to the females that were a part of everything.
And get away with it.
Because who's going to believe a female? She has, she's a female.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is not to say that it doesn't happen to men too.
Oh, no, it does.
But men have built this wall where, oh, I don't want to say anything because it'll make me look like I'm gay or weak or whatever. And it's the same thing as the married couple situation. If you are an aggressive female that's a wife and your husband repeatedly tells you no, that means no. It doesn't matter who it is, what the situation is. It could be some weird guy that keeps hitting on you at work. You say no, that means no.
But what it boils down to is that, like, this went on for years because of the fact that these people up in the in the higher ups knew what was going on and covered it up and did not allow anything to be said, or just thought, well, they're not going to say anything because who's going to believe them?
And the thing is they still think, and are probably still thinking to this day, he's going to get away with it because he can throw money at it.
Well, I mean, in a way, he still technically can. I mean, he's still extremely rich.
Yes, but the thing is if he gets convicted of it and he has to pay money, it's one thing. If he's not convicted of it or it gets dropped because they offer millions of dollars.
I don't know if there's any sort of criminal things going on with it.
There needs to be.
I will agree there needs to be.
Because regardless of who it is in the company, it could be Stephanie or Vince's wife who really creeps me out. Like
you leave Mrs. McMahon alone.
It could be either one. It could be any one of the female superstars. It could be any one of the male superstars doing this to another superstar. Regardless of how wealthy they are or not, it's still wrong and it still needs to be criminally prosecuted.
I mean, I agree. You know,
nobody's above the law.
We shouldn't treat people differently depending on how much money they have. But the problem is, the most obvious and underlying problem is that people with money aren't held to the same standards as somebody like us because they have money. They can hire these attorneys and these lawyers, and they can cherry pick who they want to go through and who they want to be in front of and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, we have to depend on public defenders or a lawyer that takes something pro bono if they end up taking it pro bono.
Or go into debt to pay for the lawyer.
Yeah.
And see, the thing
so
is,
it doesn't, while it shouldn't be that way, unfortunately, it is.
And I mean, look at what I'm going through personally. The first question that the dad asked was, how much is this going to take to make it go away? What would it take to make you drop the charges?
Yeah, and how much?
Not a damn thing.
And I asked you a hypothetical. Straight up hypothetical. If you were to say a number, you did not skip a beat when you gave me. Do
you remember what I told you?
I remember exactly what you told me.
You can tell him.
I'm not going to. And neither are you. But you fired off a number. And I'm like, why that? And you're like, well, so we can take care of this problem. We can take care of this problem. We can get this taken care of.
Each of our children will have a house. When they turn 18, we'll have a house. Basic stuff.
But ultimately, you said, I'm not doing that because they need to be held accountable. They can't just, they need to, this person
needs to understand that she can't get away with it.
And that's what needs to happen here. However, unfortunately, at this level of power that this company and this man had and still has to this day, that's probably not going to happen. Some deal's going to get made, some bullshittery is going to happen, and there will be no charges. I mean, man's old. Like, he's old as shit right now.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Put him on house arrest? He has a castle.
But, I'm glad that TKO is holding him accountable in their own way. Like, he's not a part of the board of directors. He was, but he's not anymore.
Is his wife still?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about his wife
I just hope they don't punish her for his stupidity.
But that's why The Rock took
Linda,
over.
That's her name.
That's why The Rock took over. That's why they announced last week, that The Rock was joining the board of directors for the WWE and TKO. He has the star power. He has the fame and popularity. Like, he has the name. Everyone knows who The Rock is.
It'll bring integrity back to a company that's been slowly losing him. Yeah, he has daughters. Like, he's not going to put up with it from nobody.
But, it ultimately what it boils down to is you can't expect everything to go your way because you have money. I mean, this is just one of many powerful people, today that is having something going on legally, and they're just expecting everything to go their way. Now, I can't attest to what's going on in that household, mainly because, one, I'm not a part of that household, and two, I don't have some psychic voodoo powers to see into the future, and with 100% accuracy predict what's going to happen.
And three, they're human beings. They deserve some form of privacy in their home.
So I can't say for certain what's happening or how they're circling the wagon, so to speak.
And I mean,
but at the same time, something needs to happen.
Yes.
Something needs to be done.
And see, another thing that's going on kind of along the same lines is the whole Darius Rucker situation. Hootie and the Blowfish. He's now a very popular country singer. Like, he is really good singer. I
don't listen to country, so I don't know.
He was traveling with a female companion. I'm unsure of the relationship because I don't remember.
Okay.
And he was driving with her, and they were busted with psychedelic mushrooms and marijuana.
Okay.
In a state where both are illegal. And they're just now bringing charges on him a year later.
Okay.
Even though he wasn't the one in possession of them, he was still traveling in a vehicle with someone he knew was in possession of them.
Yeah.
So they're going through all that, and it's like, does he need to be held accountable for his part of it? Yes. Does he need to have the actual drug charges? No. He knew she had them. He should have been like, no, you can't bring that with, and left it at that. If it comes out that he told her, no, you shouldn't have that on you while we're traveling, then he doesn't need to have these charges at all. They just need to find out the whole story. And that's the hard part, because it's a year later, and even with the Vince McMahon situation, it's years later. They're never going to know the whole truth unless she saved these text messages.
Well, she did. That's the thing. I've seen screenshots that have been attached and included in everything. That's how most of this is being brought to light, and it's not just a he said she said kind of thing.
But you know what I mean? It's
I get what you're saying.
there's going to be some piece of it that's missing that they're not going to be able, and they're going to try to use that as the caveat to, hey, he shouldn't be charged because this is not the physical proof, right. The evidence, the DNA.
but
regardless, something needs to happen.
So we're gonna stop talking about that.
Move on.
Right there.
Okay. What's the time mark?
Well, I am marking the time down now, so that way, once again, I can put it into the
video or
the description.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. Anyways, you had brought something up.
Actually, I want to talk about the other. I want to talk about the other one first, only because it's something about people that I follow on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's of a criminal issue.
Okay.
So, Snake Discovery. I looked them up and started watching came across their videos right after we got our daughter her snake.
Sure.
And they breed snakes, they sell snakes, they run a rescue and adoption center for snakes and other reptiles, tortoises, cold-blooded creatures in general.
Okay.
And they have their shop, and it has a store, it has the zoo, and it has the rescue center and the sale center where they can purchase the reptiles or adopt them. And it was broken into, and stuff was damaged, stuff was stolen, and it's like they're a small business, and I love small businesses. I really do. And it's like, why would you think that was even remotely okay? It goes back to that question of why destroy shit that's not yours? It really bothered me. And they take gifts, or they don't they're like, you don't have to get us gifts, you don't have to donate, you don't have, just, keep watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos, whatever. They're all about making sure that their animals are taken care of, and they go to a specific vet that specializes in these same animals. Like, they do everything that they can to save what they can. I mean, they take in neglected snakes. They had a boa constrictor that was so extremely underweight that it was shaped like a U because all it had was its skin and ribs, all the way down.
Okay. So, my first question on this.
Okay.
Who the fuck breaks into a snake shop? Like, what is the reasoning for that? Number one. Were they religious, like overly religious people that are like, oh, and
snakes are the devil?
Yeah, well, because, Satan himself came to Adam and Eve in the form of a serpent. And is that the reason why? For one.
Okay.
For two, the fuck.
Seriously, it's the whole thing about why destroy shit that's not yours. Why?
I mean, it's not just that. It's why the fuck would you do that? Like, and it goes back to I can tie this into a number of different things, but the one thing I'm going to tie it back to is something we actually talked about on a previous episode before. Those people who are like protesting, big oil companies throwing paint and stuff like that
on paintings. Yeah.
I saw a clip somewhere, I think it was on TikTok, that a snooker game was interrupted and had to be canceled and restarted because these people came in. One person climbed on top of the table where the balls were and threw up orange dust or whatever, and it covered half of the pool table and all of the other balls, other than the cue ball and then the 3 balls that you have to sink last.
Okay.
And it just sat there and waited to get pulled off the table. It's like, why
make it make sense?
What all does it do?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, what all does it do? Does it draw attention? Sure.
Get really you in jail.
It pulls attention to your whatever it is that you're protesting, right? It goes along the lines of, I'm going to chain myself to this here tree so that way, you don't cut it down. What you seem to fail to realize is that by resorting to something like that, you're not peaceful any longer, and therefore you are taking every bit of your message and throwing it out the window.
And I mean, come on, they have an animal rescue.
Yeah.
For these animals that animal shelters won't take, they'll just euthanize them.
Yeah.
They rehab these animals, like a snake that had one eye missing because of a skin cancer. Or, like I said, that boa constrictor that was so underweight, you could see its ribs because the guy went to jail and the landlord didn't know he had a boa. And when he went in to clear everything out after the eviction process went through and stuff, he found it and drove 2 states to Minnesota, where these guys are located.
Yeah.
To ask them for help because he didn't want the thing to die, even though he hated snakes. He's like, no, I'm going to give it to a rescue that's going to try to rehab it. And
see, that's the difference.
It's like,
that's the difference right there.
Why?
People don't care unless it's theirs, unless it's their thing, their animal, their family, their space. They don't care. Their business. Like, how far back are these people? How far in the hole are these people now? Now this happened, to try to get their shop fixed, to try to get all the equipment replaced.
Thankfully, they have phenomenal followers that donate. I mean, hell, there's a 9-year-old little girl from the state that went around her neighborhood and collected money to help repair the shop.
Yeah.
She only raised like $56, but it brought Emily to tears.
Yeah.
Because this little girl was like, hey, this is wrong. Let's help fix it.
And that's the key.
That's the way we should be raising our kids, to help.
That's how we should be in general. But we're not, because everyone is now focused on this offends me. This bothers me.
I'm offended that you're offended. Shut the fuck up.
Here's the thing. And once again, I will bring it back to a comedian bit that I saw. Right? Well, what happens if they get offended? Let them be offended. But let them be offended, and this is my part. Let them be offended over there.
And that's the thing, is like, these people do good work. And I mean, if anybody that's listening, look up Snake Discovery. These guys are phenomenal. It's a husband and wife team. They are phenomenal.
Well, let's put it this way, right? Let's say this was a dog shelter.
Oh, you bet they would have found those people and put them in jail already.
Immediately. Let's say it was a cat cafe. Let's say it had something it was any sort of animal rescue, right? Where they have dogs, cats, gerbils, hamsters, birds, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? This would have made national news.
Yeah.
Or at least it would have been like huge. Like,
I know it was local. It was local news.
Because it's a local business.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's an exotic animal or a not irregular pet or animal, it automatically gets,
it doesn't matter to anybody.
And especially with it being reptiles and snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Because snakes have that stigma on them about, for thousands of years. Snakes are the reason, God said to the snake, you shall crawl in the dirt because of what you've done. And we've taken snakes and put them on this pedestal of nope ropes. That, for being another name for them, right?
Yeah.
It's still an animal.
And people deserve to like what they like.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's a horse or a snake or some other poisonous reptile.
There's a guy that does goldfish. Luke's Goldies.
I will even put this out there. Spiders and scorpions. Yeah. I'm defending a spider.
Yeah, because people have the right to have the animal that they choose.
Still an animal.
So you're saying if I bought a baby tarantula and brought it home, you wouldn't kill it?
That thing would get yeeted out of my house. Other people could have it. I don't care. It's not here. That's why I panic and I kill those little 8-legged freaks that come into that eye spot in my area. I don't want that shit around me. No, fuck that.
But other people can have them.
Somebody else can have one. I don't care. Look at Steve Irwin's kid. What is it, Robert? Yeah. Robert Irwin, right? Takes a tarantula onto Jimmy Fallon. Tries to show Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's like, fuck no. I ain't touching that. I am staying over here.
Kevin's a scared little bitch, though. He's funny.
He doesn't like animals. But he still respects them.
And he still respects Robert Irwin for doing what he does.
And especially, and then, so he wouldn't hold it, but Jimmy did. It's still an animal that Jimmy was terrified of, but he still respected it enough and respected the knowledge that was coming from Robert. These people are experts in their field and do a service as well, and they made a living out of it, and now that living is being destroyed because of some fuckery.
And see, the thing is they even hold classes for kids as young as 4 and 5 years old to learn about snakes so that they don't have to be afraid of them.
Yeah.
And
granted, if I see a water moccasin or a diamondback in front of me, I'm turning the fuck around and I'm going the other way.
No, you back up slowly because the diamondback will follow you.
I'm walking away. Doesn't take away from the fact that I'm leaving the area, but it's because I've listened to people who have this knowledge and who know what they're talking about and know what they're doing to be like, I'm not messing with that.
Exactly. And then you call an expert and say, hey, this is where this is at. Can we check this out? Because this is in a very populated area, yada, yada, yada. You're not going to call somebody that's automatically going to destroy them.
But that's what these people are, is that they're these experts. Why are we destroying somebody's stuff? Like, would these people go to like a paleontologist and break a dinosaur exhibit because, we don't believe that dinosaurs existed? There's no mention of them in the Bible.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Like, really? Or for whatever reason, I do whatever, right?
You're destroying their livelihood.
And that's what it boils down to.
And you're destroying their love.
You are taking away money from them that they use to invest back into their business, that they use to pay their bills.
They use for education purposes.
Food into their mouths, and whether or not they have children, don't know.
No,
I don't
they
follow
don't.
them, but you're taking money away from them.
These animals are their babies.
For what?
They have these lizards. I forget the exact name of them, but they're blue lizards, and they are on the endangered species list.
Oh, so now they can be charged federally.
Yep, they own these lizards. They are licensed to have these lizards, and they are trying to breed them. And they had some
get
eggs
them off of the
endangered species. List. Replenishing the stockpile, so to speak. And that way, eventually, they can come off of the endangered species list. The first set of eggs did not hatch. They were bad eggs.
They were duds.
They were slugs, as they're called in the snake world. But they're hopeful now that they know that they've been trying to copulate and the female can successfully lay eggs. They're hopeful that by next year they'll have a set, because those eggs take 6 months to hatch.
Well, they were hopeful.
And they're still hopeful. But if you go in and you destroy this stuff and the temperature drops even a few degrees in there, you're looking at the death of hundreds of eggs.
Yep.
That they would have during the summer.
Yep.
Like, the temperature has to be so specific in these incubators.
Enclosures?
No, in the incubators as well. The adults and the bigger snakes can survive with temperature shifts because they go into hibernation and stuff like in the wild.
Right.
But babies or unhatched eggs are going to suffer the most.
Yep.
And that's going to destroy everything.
Yep.
And that's a huge part of the conservation effort that they're trying to put forth. And I mean, one of her favorite snakes is a hognose, and it's local to Minnesota. And
those snakes are creepy, by the way.
They're cool as shit, though.
They're no.
But like, they even educate about, okay, if you're bit by a garter snake, wash it with soap and water. They educate on injury.
You're bit by a garter snake is a baby boa.
Basically.
I've had garter snakes before. Freaked my mother out. It was hysterical. Because I come home with this shoebox, and she's like, "What's in the shoebox?" I'm like, "Look what I found." And show her, she take them outside. I'm like, "But I want to keep them. Take them outside." I'm not taking them outside. I took them down to my room for like a day. And I was like, I came upstairs forgetting that she told me to take them outside. It's like, so what do garter snakes eat? And my mom was like, "Did you keep them?" I'm like, light bulb. Oh. Yes. Cool. Get them outside. It was hysterical.
But it's like, they have these education sessions. They have these classroom times for the younger kids, so they're not scared of them. So that if they do get bit by a pet snake, like the my brain just shut off.
Ball python?
Baby ball python. Like what to do if you get bit, like the risk of salmonella, like, that you should wash your hands after handling a snake and other reptiles. Like, they do so much education stuff, and they do so much to as a conservationist company that they will spend their own money, thousands of dollars, to get a surgery on a rescue snake that needs a surgery just so that they have a chance at life.
Yeah.
And somebody comes in and destroys it?
Yeah.
Like, why does that make sense? Make things make sense, people.
Unfortunately, in this time and age, it doesn't. I mean, we're seeing the decrease in common sense. Like,
common sense is an endangered species.
There are people now who seriously believe, one, the earth is flat, and two, there are other people who believe that the moon isn't real.
Or that the moon blew up ages ago,
yeah.
And yeah.
It's like, okay.
Or that the moon landing was faked.
Oh, wow.
That's another one. Hey, we'll have to talk about that on one of our...
Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Anyway. So, yeah, that's... If you guys that are listening want to learn more about it, just look up Snake Discovery on YouTube. They are cool. Emily is high energy, very hyper, loves talking about the snakes, loves educating. She's phenomenal. And I hope that when the next Reptile Expo comes to Denver that I can go because they are planning on attending.
I hope that whoever went ahead and broke into their shop and did all of this gets caught and has every bit of the law used.
Thrown at them.
Yeah.
Have the law book thrown at their face. Sorry, I'm very heated about that because it's not cool, guys. Come on. It's really not. Don't destroy somebody else's stuff, and don't destroy somebody that's trying to help preserve life.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on.
So you had something else that you wanted a hypothetical that you threw at me the other day.
So I've been having these odd dreams about
you have odd dreams in general.
Getting given an exorbitant amount of money, more money than I could ever think to do with. And that got me thinking about the hypothetical question that I asked you. If you had unlimited resources, unlimited money to do whatever you wanted in the world, start a business, start a conservation, start whatever, what would you do with it? I mean, while you're thinking about that.
Okay.
First thing I would do is I would start a company that specifically helps with mental health disorders in adolescents. Because there's really not a whole lot out there for people under the age of 18 with mental health resources. A lot of them cater to more adults like 17 and up, or ones that also have addiction issues or alcohol issues. So in order to get a kid mental health help and be placed somewhere, there's very few resources, and then those resources are overwhelmed. That's the first thing I would do. Second thing I would do is obviously custom build a house wherever we're living, and then custom build a house as like a vacation home. That's where I would start. But like unlimited resources, I definitely donate some to different conservation efforts, to different companies, small businesses that need a little help, that type of deal. And I wouldn't want to be part of it. I wouldn't want part ownership in something just because I donated a bunch of money. That's something to help them out. I'd be a decent human being. Donate without asking for things in return. So, I mean, that's where I would start. I don't know about you.
Well, sorry, I'm eating a breadstick. It's my breakfast.
It's your it's your Brenner.
Yeah. So the first thing I would do is I would go to St. Jude's and children's hospitals and take care of everybody's stuff, right?
All the bills.
Yep. Now, granted, they don't. A lot of these places don't actually like charge parents.
St. Jude's.
You know, but
they always need equipment.
I would find out what they needed and make sure they got what they needed. Second thing I would do is I would invest a lot of money into the development of I'm trying to think of how to put it. Technological advancements in prosthetics.
Stuff that can be controlled with your mind.
Yep. I would
biokinetics.
Thank you. I would put a lot of money into that because there's a lot of people out there who, we've made a lot of progress when it comes to prosthetics. I mean, we have people run the Boston Marathon with
double amputees.
Yeah. And they're, walking around on the blades, whatever they're called.
The ones that are curved?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
But how much better do you think, and how much more confidence do you think that they would have if we could have something like, and I'm going to use a movie which is highly fictionalized, but something like iRobot, where Will Smith, his character, has a synthetic arm that's connected to him that he takes like a can and he sprays it over it and it covers up and it makes it look like it's his actual arm.
Yeah.
Like,
that'd be kind of cool.
I would put money in toward that because eventually science fiction as a thing, as a genre, is still based somewhat in science.
And it's possibilities. That's what science fiction is. Possibilities.
So that would be the second thing that I would do. Right? Third thing, mental health. And I wouldn't just limit it to adolescents, but like I would inject enough money into the current programs that we have that they have more money than what they know to do with, to get better stuff, to get better people, to put people through training, to help out these people, up to and including adolescents and the unhoused,
veterans,
and vets.
Yep, that's another one that I would do is help veteran resources.
Within my top 7 would be, make sure that I have a home, I have a house, stuff like that. I would just have one. But, you do you, boo-boo.
No, the reason I say a vacation home is so that way family can come. They can utilize it.
They can.
Yeah, whatever.
But
friends, even.
But I would start addressing the problems that we have currently. Those people who are in jail for weed charges.
Or crimes they didn't commit. Because they didn't have proper representation.
People who are older and they're getting speeding tickets. And they're living off of retirement and pensions and stuff like that.
Create a specific company that chauffeurs these elderly around to these appointments. Without charging them.
Buy acres and acres of land and build a city. And the only people who can move into that city are those without homes.
And create programs that, part of the application process of helping them get clean of drugs or alcohol. Helping them with their problems that may have caused them to have homelessness.
Yeah.
Or help them find jobs which may have caused their homelessness.
That's what I would do. And that would go to some of these colleges. I'm not talking big colleges, right? Or not all big colleges.
Like some of the community colleges.
Well, I would go to some of the community colleges, but I would also go to like some of these bigger name colleges, and I would pick a handful of people who are there and they're paying their own tuition. They're not there because of scholarship or, they're having to make payments, because
mommy and daddy aren't paying for it.
Yeah, I would take care of their debt. Like I would wipe out that debt, So
that they don't start their working life $100,000 in debt if they're going to medical school.
Yeah. Like I would this is all stuff that I would do. I would start helping those who need it the most.
Another thing that I would do,
I would put myself down way at the bottom of the list, because as long as I can help somebody out, as long as there are people who need it
more than
me, then that's what I want to do.
And another thing that I would do is put money into programs like food stamps, Medicaid.
I put money into schools.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Hiring people that will actually teach your children.
Well, not only that, but like
harp at them.
There are teachers who they don't get enough supplies for their students,
and they don't make enough money.
That they're going ahead and they're having to go out and buy stuff for their students with their own money.
Getting a second job, a third job. I know a teacher right now that has 3 jobs.
I would take care of that. Some of these people who are in hospitals who don't have any way of paying anything, and they're getting like the least, like they're getting help.
They're making too much to get on programs like Medicaid or Medicare.
Yeah. But pay their hospital bills for them. That's the stuff that I would do. Help those who need it. I would Robin Hood that shit. Granted, I wouldn't be stealing from people.
I'd steal from the rich.
Eat the rich. But I wouldn't steal. Like if I had this hypothetical
exorbitant amount of money,
then that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would invest some. I would invest a bit of it, so that way I'm constantly making more.
Yeah.
Make
so smart investments.
Continue to help.
And I mean, it's the same thing I would do if I ever won the lottery.
But I would go ahead and help out those who needed it most. These single parents, who are working 2, 3 different jobs because they're the only ones providing for their kids.
I mean, and I'd go as far as, the medical side of it, where these parents are struggling with fertility and they want to be able to adopt or have IVF.
Well, they should have a test first.
Or just can't afford to it costs upwards of $50,000 to $75,000 to adopt a child. And then you've got the other side of it, the IVF or the artificial insemination or all the testing that goes in with all of this stuff that costs a lot of money, and people are wanting to be parents that deserve to be parents. That's the people that do deserve to be parents.
Yeah.
That have been trying and working their asses off, and their bodies just can't handle it. Doing surrogacy, helping people pay for their dreams.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people have simple dreams. They just want to be a mom. They just want to be a dad. And it's like they can't, because they can't afford to put that amount of money in. But if they had a child, they'd be able to raise that child comfortably.
But that's stuff I would do if I had that, right? I would set up programs to help those who needed help. I would ensure that people are taken care of. And for those bad actors who try to come in and be like, oh,
I do this, you
can go fuck the right off.
If you're going to do something for the betterment of your community or for people that need help, don't sit there and stick a camera in their face and be like, look what I did.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm the bad actors that I'm referring to are the ones who are they are more than capable of doing, and they have a comfortable place. Like there was a video that went out, I don't know how long ago, but this lady was on the corner panhandling, And this guy was filming her because he was kind of curious. And she got done with her 8-hour shift and turned around, walked into the parking lot, and pulled out a set of keys from her bag and got into an almost brand new Toyota 4Runner. And he walked up to her and was like, "What are you doing?" And it was all because she didn't want to go. She didn't want to do any. She didn't want to work.
She didn't want to do a regular job.
She just wanted a handout.
And that's the thing. It's tax free. That's why people do it. And the thing is like,
I'm talking about those people.
Yeah, those people can fuck the right off. But there was another example of a guy that, had been panhandling so long. He'd been homeless for years. And panhandling as a homeless person, that's the way you feed yourself. That's the way you get the nourishment you need. And that I can understand. But once he had enough money, instead of getting a regular job, he continued to panhandle. And now, like, he was discovered, so he's no longer doing it. But he was making upwards of $80,000 to $90,000 a year.
Yeah, that's why I like one of the panhandle. I don't know if they're still around, but one of the people down, we're a couple miles away from where we're at, just sitting out there on the corner with a sign, says, I'm just gonna be honest, I need a beer."
Why lie? I need a beer. That guy that stood over off of 2nd and Santa Fe, or 2nd and Calumet. Yeah. And it's just honesty. And granted, some of those people need a beer because of the addiction issue. Others want the help. And if you ask them, would you rather get some help or would you rather have the alcohol? Half of them are going to say they want help because they're tired of living like that.
But it boils down, this hypothetical, it boils down to intent. Right? What is the intent of this? Is the intent of this to draw attention to you? Or is the intent to
draw attention to other issues?
Help other people.
And that's why I said what I said when I was like, I would invest in these small businesses that are struggling to keep them afloat, to give them a little extra. And I wouldn't want any part of their business. Hey, if I came in and wanted a meal and a cup of coffee at a small business restaurant and they didn't charge me for it because I helped them out, cool, whatever. Okay.
I'd still
tip. I'd still
pay.
I'd still pay. I'd put all that money to a tip, but like my meal I know costs like $18 and my drink costs $4. I'm like, okay, here's a $50 tip. Like, I would be an ass. Like, I would make them take the money, because it's like you don't donate just to get something in return.
No.
I would support that business and be like, hey, I know you're struggling. I don't want you to close your doors. Here's $100,000. This will get rid of your debt and help you get some new equipment or help you zhuzh up the place, get some new tables or chairs or more seating, because there's been a couple of times I've been in some of these little mom and pop restaurants, they only have 4 tables.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I would buy more tables for them. I would give them money to go buy the things they needed, to order the things they needed. And they'd be like, well, why are you doing this? Because I want to help.
Yeah.
And people will offer, be like, hey, you can be attached to the business. You can earn some money from this, yada, yada, yada. And I'd be like, no, this is yours. This is your dream. This is your business.
Yeah.
I don't want to take your business from you, because that's just like sticking a video camera in your face being like, look what I did. It's not cool. I mean, granted, some of these people do it to bring light to situations, but others do it just for clout. And that's not what this would be about. No. This would be about helping others.
When you help someone, help is, you shouldn't expect something back.
And see, one of the bigger stars restaurants or bigger restaurants that I would really like to donate to is the one that John Bon Jovi runs. His kitchen, he has a sign that says, if you are hungry, come in. If you can't afford a meal, don't worry. And they allow homeless people, if they want to earn some money, they'll give them a place to stay for a month to get on their feet. They'll offer them a job there so they can get some experience, and they do these things. And I would support bigger businesses like that as well, because...
Well, I don't know if I would support, like...
No, the reason I do that is because they pay out of pocket for these people to have a place. They donate their money, so why not help them out to give them more money to donate to more people, is what I'm saying. Is like, or help them, be like, hey, who do you have here that's struggling to keep a roof over their head? Who do you have, who do you know or have seen come around for numerous meals that just needs help? And I'd try to locate them or have them call me the next time they're in and be like, hey, so I was explained your situation and I would like to help you out. You know, get them a place to live, help them look for a job, you know, that type of deal, so that I can pay like a year's worth of rent and give them a nest egg for utilities and food and stuff. That way, when they get a job, they can start putting money away and start living on their own. Yeah. And see, I would do things like that. So it just, and I wouldn't want anything. I would never want anything. It's like I put a post on Facebook when I had that, which you guys don't know because it happened either right before or right after our last episode, about the fact that an Instacart person stole my debit card and my food stamp card info and utilized it to buy like $200 worth of crap. And the thing I put up on Facebook, it says, if you need groceries, I'm always going to try my best to help any way I can. But when you hack my stuff and steal not only my money, but my food stamps too, you can go fuck yourself. I don't know who did it, so don't ask. I had to order a new debit card and new food stamp card. Good news, bad news though. I get my money back from the bank after they complete their investigation, which they denied that. And I'll never see the food stamps again. But the good news is I finally was able to get a hold of somebody higher up in the grocery company that refunded the entire thing, including the stuff that I had ordered that day. Yeah. And I still haven't seen it hit my debit card yet, but I'm just like, you know, I'm always willing to help people, even when I don't think I have enough for myself. Like, I had a friend call me and she was upset because her bank account got overdrawn and it's going to leave her $60 short for rent. Granted, my paycheck wasn't the best and I had to cover the overdraft and all. What my bank account was overdrafted by like $60 because of this dumb chick and rent this time. But I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. I looked at stuff and I was like, okay, I'm able to give you the $60.
And we still managed
to pay rent.
To take care of everything that we needed to.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm always willing to help people. And she goes, can I pay you back? And I told her no. I was like, if $60 is going to make me or break me, I'm screwed either way. I was like, but I know that if I ever needed the help and you were able to help me, you would do the same thing. Yeah. And she does.
And that's how it should be. Like, that's how this world should be. But
yep. But, you know, people suck. Humanity sucks. Although I am seeing a little more of restoring my faith in humanity type videos. And the one that I'm watching on Snake Discovery today is one of them. I mean, these little kids sending money to the shop to help repair. I mean, come on. That's cool as shit. So.
But
that restores my faith in the next generation.
Well, I think we're going to call it here. Because this seems like a good stopping point. Thank y'all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you're listening to us on Spotify and you want to hear more, and you want to let Spotify know, hey, we like what we're hearing, we want to get more of this, hit the download button. Like I said, it gets to Spotify and it shows them that, hey, you like what you're listening to, you like hearing our voices, and that gets back to us. There's a link in the description. If you would like to donate, feel free to. We're not saying that you have to, but if you do, it supports us, and it's another way of letting us know, hey, we like what you're doing. We want to hear more of what you're doing. So here's whatever. But as always, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to love each other. And as always,
don't be a dick. And plus, check out Snake Discovery. Let them know that we support them and everything they do.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye.